So for this year, we have selected three main themes. Aquaculture technologies, which is a new area for us to concentrate on, which is a result of a meeting we had on November 30, where we had about 15 people in this room, with about 7 experts presenting. And we had a lively conversation, and the general positive attitude was that this is indeed a very important area to focus on offshore aquaculture technologies, which is what is novel and deserving of basic research. I will go in detail over these topics. So I just mentioned the other two. Ocean acidification is a continuation of our effort. And in this time, we will focus it further so as to really have an impact on our efforts. And the third is an enabling technology, which is the underwater wireless transmission of power and data. So first of all, the eligibility and the requirements that we have. This is basic research, so it is for university-based scientists, which are eligible to be principal investigators. And the PI can receive only funding once from CEPA. The projects are funded generally for 2 years with a maximum of 100,000 per year and with a 50% requirement for matching funds, which is by CEPA include that that's how it has to be. So the pre-proposals will be due on March 6th. Prior to submitting a pre-proposal, you have to send me an email telling me the topic, so I can tell you whether it falls within this guidelines you have today, so you don't waste your time submitting them in a non-responsive manner. And then the full proposal will be due on June 12th. As I will indicate, there are other efforts on several of these topics that we have announced today. So this allows us scientists to join forces with industry, with national labs, to go after funding by the Central Sea Grant Office, the National Sea Grant Office. ARPA-E has projects, DARPA has projects, NOAA has projects. So we have a variety of other projects which are much more applied, but this is the basic part. So we can create a cluster of people who can go after this particular topic. So we can leverage a lot of this type of research. So we started with the first thing, which is the aquaculture technology. So as I mentioned, we had a preliminary discussion, and the basic theme is that by many estimates, we have to double or increase at least by 70% the food that comes from the ocean by 2030. And this will have to come mostly through farming, since capture of wild fish has reached almost the limit. And in fact, sometimes it's exceeding it. And offshore farming is thought to be friendlier to the environment and to consume less resources. But on the other hand, there are several obstacles in the way to have a vibrant such activity. Norway and other countries are way ahead of everybody else, especially Norway. I'm involved with the University of Trondheim in Norway, following them for many years now, the research they are doing. So they provide a very good example because they're spearheading the effort to go offshore. So we identified several technological, economical, and regulatory challenges ahead. So what is the idea here? We want novel technology, so novel has to be underlined, to make offshore farming economically feasible. But we will focus on technology. And the target is to become a world leader in this area. Traditionally, at MIT and in other institutions in Massachusetts, we have a very strong presence in thermodynamics, in acoustics, in robotics, all the constituent areas. Several of the MITs clearly the leader. So there is another university. there's no reason why we cannot provide the leadership there. So, a few facts, some pictures of the protected farms versus the ones in the open, where the loading from the sea can be significant, especially in extreme storms. We have the help of the offshore industry, which shares some of the methodologies, not the same designs, but some of these methodologies. So I'll mention a few facts. In Norway, there was an epidemic in 2015 of lice, closed down almost half the production because of this event. So nearshore farming has other impacts, both environmental, polluting the environment, and subject to sicknesses, and also always the escape of fish, which is another issue. There's a Norwegian firm, SalMar, which is trying to put offshore farming. They have already the license and they go ahead. And the University of Trondheim is well behind them in all marine tech and all the other facilities. There is Anna Fish Farms in the Northeast, which is targeting offshore within their agenda, but not very massive. There is an upcoming talk by rather a hearing by the US Senator on the topic of growing the future opportunities to support aquaculture, which among other things has the future opportunities to offshore coastal and inland communities alike. There is a national sea grant aquaculture initiative. There was an initiative by ARPA-E last year. NOAA has similar initiatives. So I think we are at the beginning of a definite trend in this area, and offshore is where we can make a difference. So the main theme of this overall thing is to develop novel technologies and materials which will enable environment-friendly offshore farming and sustainable approach. So topics that are eligible for that is sensor technologies for autonomous monitoring, with low power, and with real-time communication. A major issue in order to do offshore and monitor continuous manning requirements. Likewise, for autonomy as an enabling technology, so surveying, monitoring, and intervention is critical. But always with the understanding that novel technologies are needed to advance this. And computational and experimental tools, which will allow us to design these novel fish cages, which may not look like the classical cages, and all support equipments, which are safe for the open sea, capable of assessing the storm and environmental effects, and to have a demonstrable subset of it. The reference is just one of many that we can find in the internet, but this is one that will give you some background of the challenges of the facility. The second theme is a continuing theme. We've had it in the books for the topic of ocean acidification. But now we want to be able to have a cost-effective technology to monitor continuously areas in the ocean. So right now we have sparse field data and insufficient satellite resolution. So either we'll invest in a massive development of those observation floats of the ocean, or try to use some of the very powerful machine learning methods to extract this information at the regional level. DARPA is doing the former, the observation floats. It's a major initiative. It's going to do that. We're going to for sure to take advantage of the opportunities. Until we have developed, we have a cost-effective opportunity. clearly support for this. I sent out information on these meetings and Senator Warren replied to me in a letter and underlined the support she has for the national certification. Considers to be important. So what is the area, the focus area here? To be able to do prototype demonstration of systems which provide continuous area monitoring, specifically for the Northeast, Caltech, Maine, Boston Harbor, any Northeast. Based on fusion of on-site measurements, which we have in spares, so for example, buoys, other observation and satellite data. And this is particularly important in the coast of New England, where acidification is highly variable because, as explained very well in the reference I have listed by Leckie and Patel, why acidification is so variable in the coast of New England because of water influx. And we want a specific deliverable which will be a demonstration through integrated field of experiment and simulation of the capability to monitoring. So we expect that the system will be able to deal with non-stick and aggregate data, non-linear interpretation process, and take the temperature. The third topic is a technological topic which we have also in the books before. So I reiterate it here with some challenges. It has to do with wireless power and data transmission. So today it's acknowledged that one of the major obstacles in continuous monitoring and manipulation is that you need to recharge efficiently and regularly vehicles. You have to have, like the filling stations for cars, you have to have similar capability on the water and want to have all these vehicles autonomously. So we want to be able to recharge the power for equipment and vehicles rapidly and effectively, and also to be able to transfer the data at very high rate. So that's the areas of research on this third theme. The first is to be able to do wireless transmission at a rate of at least 1 kilo. We have demonstrated many locations 100 watt, but 1 to 2 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt, it's a rate of linear around of very effective utilization of critical data. The second item is we want new modalities, new ways to transmit data wireless reversion at very high rate, including through the free surface. So it has to be other than acoustic, because we're talking about near field transmission. Acoustic is very nice over large distances, but suffers with a number of problems in very stratified fluids. Number of other, the primary concern is the funding. So we will not specify the other modalities, but I have listed the paper by Gas and al., and you can find similar from the literature where we list the various modalities that are available, and there may be also additional ones. We are open to good ideas. And of course, a key element is to be able to demonstrate such effectively in realistic conditions. So 5 p.m., March 6th is the pre-proposal review, and as I said, I'm expecting to see prospective applicants to send me an email so we can tell them if they're within the framework, encourage submissions within this. It's open to all academic institutions. We are going to post this. I may change them depending on the questions I will receive. So we'll give them another about 10 days or less to finalize the document. This will be online, posted, so you can read it at any time. And questions will be open now and after. So we can start with this ruling. If you have any questions, and we'll see whether we get any questions live now or later. Yes.
For the communications, the non-acoustic communications, what are the requirements that you have in mind? Data rates, power rates, cost?
I don't want to make it into a project in the technical. The goal is the major thing is you have to advance the state of the art. So by giving this reference, you have to match what is available.
So totally open.
So it's up to you to demonstrate what you propose.
Great.
This advance on the state of the art.
Great.
The reason I mentioned the 1 kilowatt is because this is a very recent sort of development. So I want to put something to put apart. But if you come with 100 kilowatts, I'm ready.
Super.
I had a question. What are you thinking of as the best as far as collaborative teams, universities, private, public partnerships with entities? Do you see pairing up together to represent proposals?
Okay, this research is basic research, so it has to be university-based. So at this point, the thing that I ask the researchers is to get letters of support from the industry. It's not required, but it's a major asset, which means that someone will contact you and demonstrate that there is a real talking to you. We have projects from the National Second Office and NOAA, which actually companies can apply in collaboration with us here. So this you can see as a way to get into the door of the research here and then proceed to get these grants where you can be an equal recipient inside of them. But this is limited amount of money for sort of basic research. But it's a good start. So I would encourage people who contact me to come in contact with you, anybody who's out there, and start working. So,
the first project, aquaculture, is that focused on fish farming in particular, or would other organisms, microorganisms, algae also be of interest? Either as bird-spotted fish feeding or as birds in
for this year, we focus on the technology. So last year, we focused on some of the biology.
Mm-hmm.
So but every year, we try
technology for fish farming or technology for algae farming is what the technology is for, is that sort of bound to a specific organism or
no, provided it's the technology for farming, building, it can be for fish, it can be for other species, but whatever it is, one can say. But we're not concerned this year, in this particular, on the biology.
yeah.
Last year, we funded several projects on the biology.
So I get that it's a technology to sustain the farms.
Mm-hmm. Because right now, we don't have farms out there. There are some, but we don't have independent farms. The technology is not there.
Mm-hmm.
Can funds already in lab accounts be used for the match, or does it need to be a new source of funding for the 50% match?
50% match has to be non-federal,
But anything else?
provided it's active at the time the project is.
Would you mind going back to the aquaculture part, to the 3 bullet points? Have you prioritized in your own mind what would be the most important projects, or you're just kind of leaving it open for, as you said, anything that's going to develop novel underlying technologies?
It is open, so that's why I put the phrase such as. So this is not restricted, that it has to be one of these 3. But in my mind, these are 3 that are important.
Yeah.
If you can demonstrate that some other technology will allow to do it environment friendly, economically feasible farming, which we will know about. I don't know anyone, but right now, routinely being done. Then we're open. I mean, it's basic research, so we come up with different materials. The knowledge underlying and technologies and materials is actually important.
Well, the reason I asked you to go back to this one, because in my opinion, I've been growing fish a long time. It's bullet point number 3 that's critical. I mean, if you can actually grow the fish in a structure that will survive in most conditions, all the rest of it is just sort of support stuff.
I agree.
It's irrelevant. Well, not irrelevant, but you have to have bullet point number 3 first. And you're right.
It's true, and these are not prioritized by
Okay.
Yeah, and both in the Norwegian research and in the document that you sent me from your company and other comments that are applied.
Mhm.
It's true that the particular fish cage design that will be developed for this will be different. So the Norwegians have some completely new concepts. You have a new concept. So, but developing tools which will allow to do this design will be critical. Something that you can do the experimentation and the computation. The tools will be able to do that, so people can design it.
Mhm.
So when we do such things for the offshore industry, for example, we don't design the particular platform that BP or Exxon is going to install somewhere, but they're using the computational tools that we have developed to do this stuff, which don't exist right now.
So the tools that could help modify and mitigate problems,
Exactly.
structural issues.
I may take your comment and put this number 1 because it looks like tertiary in importance. It's not.
I don't have any comments from our online component.
All right, then we'll leave it as is. I usually get comments afterwards. So people want to digest the points and then apply.
I have a list of all of the questions you've asked and the answers you've given, so we can post if we have any questions, as people ask more questions, that way everyone can see it.
Exactly. Okay, great. Thanks.